Acura's all-new ADX, a compact SUV that isn't just built for one thing. It's precision crafted for everything. To escape the grind with available all-wheel drive. To go with your flow with available Google built-in.
Hey Google, turn it up.
Okay, turning up the volume. And crafted to be heard with an available Bang & Olufsen premium sound system. The all-new Acura ADX, crafted to match your energy. Acura, precision crafted performance.
Take your vibes and go, 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 go.
Google is a trademark of Google LLC.
Reality radio for a really great future. We're talking real money.
Hello, I'm Don McDonald, typically known as Scrooge, but now it's Tom.
And then depression set in. Why? What do you, how am I Scrooge? Wait a minute. What's that?
Well, because you're just going to give me like an hour off work.
Next week.
I feel like
I'm going to take
Bob
the hour
Cratchit.
off, sir. If it will be convenient enough for you, sir. No, it's never convenient.
I won't ask for any more calls.
Okay, you can take next, because I got an interview next Saturday from 2 till 3. And he'll do most of the talking, because that's easy. So
what? Because it's Rick?
Yeah. Just turn the thing on, come back, and that's okay. He knows he's a loquacious son of a gunner. That's all right.
Loquacious?
Yeah, that's okay.
Thank God he went to law school. He knows what that means.
Yeah, right. Big talker. No, he's very good. So we're doing this class together. He wants to come on and talk about it. Let's have at it. What
Sounds
do you
good.
say? Yeah.
I think that's great. Now, just want to start the show by informing everyone that it is a beautiful day in the Seattle area, for those of you not listening to the podcast.
And in a basement with your drapes drawn, yes.
Or in Florida, making me blissfully unaware of how nice it is, which is good for me, because it's probably, let's look. Here's
I mean,
the
right? You want to know what it is
forecast.
right here, right now? It is absolutely
make
perfect.
me so
perfect
sad.
Day.
Yeah.
It is sunny and 72. I mean, that's like the perfect.
Oh, it's
Wow.
not as bad as I thought. I thought
Okay.
it was going to be 90. It's only 86. Okay.
Yeah, but what's the humidity?
86.
Yeah, there's like
Or worse.
there's 50% here. You can't even tell here. This
Yeah.
is one of those days, when you're in November and you're walking somewhere and it's raining, it's 43 degrees and the wind is blowing and blah, and you just, why do I live in Seattle? Well, for a day
There you
like
go.
today.
Payback is coming.
Exactly. And the days here are so long now, too. Sun hardly goes down. It's great.
My daughter just is flying back from Africa, and she goes, Dad, the days are exactly the same length as the nights here. I said, it's because you're at the equator, dear.
Middle part of the earth.
Yeah. 855-935-TALK is our phone number. And because the beautiful day syndrome is in full force, everybody caught it, we found that the only thing that works to get people to call and ask those important questions that not only help you, but help your fellow man
And one
and
guy
woman.
even had a suggestion on a question.
Yeah.
That was good.
You have to call us at 855-935-TALK, and Tom, we'll make sure that you get a copy of my little book called Financial Physics.
It's a
How
great
money
book.
and
You're
investing
downplaying the importance, the
really
significance, the incredible need-to-know basis of people listening right now. This is, wow. I mean, these are things you need to know.
And there are thousands of them in print. We know that. We've looked at the sales, thousands of them.
And if you had to go buy one today.
Not a New York Times bestseller, but if you had to go buy one today, it'd be $9.95. Yeah. And if you're a Prime member, you get free shipping.
You'd have it on Tuesday. No, Monday.
No, Wednesday. No, it's 2-day shipping.
Yeah. Right. You order it today, you have it on Monday.
Do they count? I guess they do. Amazon,
they're
Amazon,
working all the time.
They never sleep.
No, they never
the company that never
I think
sleeps.
I told you that one time I broke my razor at like 8 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday, and the new one was there by like 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Sunday.
Yeah.
What are they, right at the top of the hill there or something? I mean, it's crazy.
You're in Seattle. I mean, where is Amazon headquartered? Oh, yeah, that would be Seattle.
45,000 Amazon employees right here in Seattle.
Yeah, but they're also all over the place. I mean, how many distribution warehouses do these guys have? I mean, they're everywhere. Mm-hmm. We got one down the street from us.
Do you? Well, maybe you can get your razor the same day then. Good luck.
I have an electric, so.
So do I. Mine broke.
Oh.
It didn't work anymore.
I have two. I have a spare.
You're a smarter man than me there, Mr. McDonald. You
Yeah.
gave the number. You mentioned the free book.
I don't do the mountain man look well.
No.
I don't do bearded well. My son has a beard. All of his friends have beards. There's beards ever. I don't look good in a beard. I tried it. I tried it again in New Zealand when
Did
I
you?
was in New
It
Zealand.
just didn't-
And Debbie looked at me and went, "No, not working.
Not working for me. Not working for
not
anybody else.
working. Not working. Just take that stupid thing off."
I could do it
So,
on my
give us a
1
call.
week vacation this summer. See how it goes.
It won't go well for you. 855-935-TALK, 855-935-8255. If you really want a good example of how bad someone can look in a beard,
Yes.
just look at David Letterman.
I don't understand why he has it so long. It's if he trimmed it a bit, it looks very strange. It's unkempt.
It looks like he just came out of the 6 years lost in the wilderness.
It looks like he could be storing yesterday's dinner in there and nobody would know.
That's the other issue with beards.
It's just, it's
All right.
not
Enough
very
about
sanitary.
that. Enough about that.
Oh, you want to
Now-
say about money? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I think we should talk about money.
What do you got? What do you got?
What have I got?
I don't know. What do you
my
want to talk
gosh,
about?
What don't I have?
Okay.
I was looking. In fact, this was earlier today. Mm-hmm. I was reading an article at Morningstar because I was looking up a mutual fund.
Congratulations.
I don't often read their articles, but this one was interesting. It caught my eye. It was an article by John Reckenthaler, and the title of the article was "The Great Bull Market That Everybody Missed." Now, what is interesting about this is he's saying that no one predicted the big bull market we went into in February 2009, about 9 years ago. And then but here's what really bothered me about it is he says, here are the lessons that we should have learned from that. That getting economics right is difficult. Doing so requires being correct about many things. Now, not economics.
This has nothing to do with economics.
It has to do with predictions. And he should have said that. Getting predictions right is very difficult. I'm going to rephrase it. Doing so requires being correct about many things. Somebody who foresees, this is all verbatim now, somebody who foresees 3 major events but misses a 4th will not necessarily have a more accurate prediction than somebody who is consistently wrong. In other words, even if you get it right, you don't get it right.
Yeah, that's a strange article because the group that has the worst track record of predicting anything are economists. They're absolutely, you go back to 2007 and find the number of them that said, hey, in a year we're going to be in, recession, bad times. Nobody did. And you go back to 2001 and you could go back and no, they never predict this stuff. So that's a kind of a silly thing to say.
But he doesn't end it as he should end it. I think it should be ended with, apparently, once again, this proves that nobody, no matter how smart they think they are, can predict the future accurately and consistently, period, exclamation point, so stop trying. That's how the article should have ended.
I agree.
And that's the point I want to make on this show every single time we do it, is for those of you who think someone out there can predict the financial future, you are fooling yourselves and you're hurting yourselves.
And that's the other part of it. I mean, how bad is it for people that then did get out, for example, of stocks in 2008 and waited around for however long until the all clear bell
are
rang.
Still waiting.
Yeah, and then no, you should have a correct asset allocation that matches your need for return within your risk tolerance, your time horizon, what the purpose of that money, and then after that, frankly, yes, you can read the stuff every day. It's entertaining, but it's pornography. It is meant to excite. That's it.
855-935-TALK is our phone number, 855-935-8255. Give us a call. We'd love to help you deal with money and understand it better. And we'd love to give you a copy of my book, Financial Physics, just for calling and asking a question. And Craig is doing just that. Craig, welcome to the show.
Hey, Craig.
Hi, how you guys doing?
Good. How are you today, sir?
Not too bad. So, I talked to your screener, I was just curious. I'm approaching retirement age. And I'm curious if you guys think it's better, and I'll be perfectly honest here, I'm kind of lazy when it comes to the whole watching my money thing, and I don't want to have to be working on it every day. would you guys think it's more prudent to have index funds to still have a source of income in retirement, or one of those mutual funds that has like a targeted date out in the future where it changes over time?
The fact what you said at the beginning was the operative part. You don't want to pay attention to it. I mean, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So therefore, yeah, having a target date fund of some kind probably makes sense, because then it's done for you, the asset allocation part. Here's the part you need to be wary of, Craig. They're going to tell you, by virtue of your age, how you should be invested. Now, they don't know you. They are never going to know you. And this is where many people, sometimes it makes sense to have a financial advisor who knows how much growth you need in the portfolio, who knows you as a person and how you deal with the ups and downs of your investments and that kind of thing, rather than just saying, okay, here, company X, put the money in and invest it because I'm 65 years old.
Yeah, and that being said, though, what you need to do, I have a big problem with a company saying, because you are so old, you need this. I think that's just wrong, because it's got to be personal. I suggest you find out what your risk tolerances are, and then I think you could go out and build an index portfolio with a stock index and a bond index, because your risk tolerance at your age is unlikely to change as you grow older. Your risk tolerance today is likely to be your risk tolerance going forward. The difference between your risk tolerance at 65 and your risk tolerance at 85 is almost non-existent, or at least it should be, because you're already where you need to be in life. So I would find out what my risk tolerance is. Go take the risk quiz at Vestory.com. Try that and see what your risk tolerance is, and then go to Vanguard and build a portfolio.
We give you a couple of funds, VTWSX, that's the Vanguard Total World Stock Index, and VBMFX, the Vanguard Total Bond Fund. You'd balance between those two funds, and you probably could leave it that way for a long. You may have to rebalance it at some point, but take good care of. It's very low cost. It's a lot of diversification, and as Don said, you can build it for yourself. So we wish you well, Craig. Thank you for the call.
Thanks, Craig. 855-935-TALK, our number, 855-935-8255. And that really does just point out some of the problems with the financial services industry, is that there are these assumptions being made that everybody is the same, and there's just no way everybody is the same. There are huge differences between people and the kind of risk they can stand taking and the kind of risk they need to be taking. And that's something most people don't even consider.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
If you're sick of investing through an insurance agent or a stockbroker, and you're in the market for a fee-only advisor who charges truly low fees and uses a scientific approach to building portfolios for your risk tolerance and need, you should check out Vestory. Tom and I started this firm, and it is devoted to educating everyone, total transparency, clarity, low fees, and great service. If you're looking for an advisor, you ought to at least take a look at us at Vestory.com. That's Vestory.com. Or give us a call, 800-386-3004.
Your guides to a really great financial future. Tom and Don are talking real money.
Not only do we help you make money, but we also bribe you so that you can learn how to make more money.
By using
with
bribes?
A free book.
Come on, that doesn't sound right.
Free book for calling a show. That's
see.
not a bad deal.
Right.
855-935-TALK is the number, 855-935.
Oh, you know what we should do on the book promotion sometime?
What?
We should just send out random books. You know, I have like 500 books. I tried to sell some of them back to Amazon, and they didn't want them.
Oh, you mean just books you have in your bookshelf?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You get a book. Here's a book.
Here's some old book Tom doesn't want.
They're only read once and dropped a couple of times. I mean, these are really pretty nice books, so I don't know.
You know, that is funny. I have a lot of
Random
old books, and I tried selling them on Amazon, and it's like 99 cents.
I know. It was a waste of time. Yeah. So we I brought a lot to the office. I think we gave them away to a retirement community where they had a library, and they put them in there. Makes sense.
Because only old people still read books.
It's probably about right too. Anyway,
What?
I don't want to go in the books thing. I just got rewarded. I found out that my favorite World War II writer just came out with a new book. So I am so happy for my summer read. So I'm almost done with the Robin Williams biography, which I think you might like, which is new. And then this is brand new. I have so look at all these books I have on my iPhone. I won't send you the Robin Williams
book. Look at all these books.
Fine.
Books. You know, the problem with books is they take up space. I have like 1,000 books in my hand.
You need to do what I just said. You need to take them somewhere where there's people that will read them. I thought that was a great idea. Somebody in the office came up with that.
In Florida, I wonder if there's a place where there are old people.
Gotta check. Maybe.
Go check around.
Yeah.
All right, Kathy, you're up next. Welcome to Talking Real Money.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. I have an asset question. I have most of my assets in the market in a living trust that's revocable that I control. And I understand that my current setup does not protect me from estate tax, especially in the state of Washington. I am 70 and looking at doing some moving to make the estate tax situation go away, and I need to know what my options are.
I'm scratching my head.
Do I need a different kind of trust? What do I need to do?
You know, I don't know enough about trust because I'm speaking selfishly in my case. Yeah, I have a Q-tip, and the trust will eliminate the state tax situation. It will, if there was that money there, which I don't know there will be, but it would have reduced. So the short answer is yes. I don't know when you say living trust that so many things could be a living trust in today's world.
Okay, well, this is a trust that I control. It's in my name. It's my social security number.
Yep.
You're going to need a living. The kind of trust you have is a trust over which you have total control. It really doesn't shelter. It doesn't get the assets out of your estate, which is subject to the estate tax. Now, that being said, neither of us are licensed to practice law in the great state of Washington, so we really can't give you legal advice, but we do know that you're going to need another kind of trust to make that happen.
I got a suggestion. Call tomorrow morning. You can call Rick Gregrick show tomorrow morning.
No.
Call next
station.
Saturday.
No.
Call next
Saturday
at this hour at this same number, and Rick will be here, and Rick will tell you in about 2 seconds. He'll know what kind of trust.
Yeah, he's an elder law attorney and a state attorney.
Okay.
So sorry, we can't be more helpful.
Call next week, but we're going to still give you a book, and then you can call next week and get free help from a lawyer, too. 855-935-TALK is our number, 855-935-8255.
Can I introduce the next caller?
If you want.
Okay.
Go.
Because it's Earl of Kent.
Oh.
Earl, how are you?
Really a lame joke.
That's true. It's the Earl of Kent.
I'm doing very well.
How are you? Oh, good. Good. How can we help you, sir? How can we help you, Earl?
I wanted to find out, Vanguard has several good index funds. I'm not sure whether zero in on a couple of them, or are you suggesting that it be a half a dozen of them or whatever for a retirement account?
Well, it depends, Earl, how hard you want to work. For example, if you go
Don't make it too complicated.
Well, if you go to paulmerriman.com, Paul gives you, a list of, 10 Vanguard index funds. You can build the portfolio. You got to rebalance. You got to do work. And by Paul's own admission, we asked him, I think even on the air, how many people will really do that? He said, maybe 1 out of 10. That's why several years ago, at the behest of Bill Higgins, give him full credit, he said, let's give people 2 funds, one that's a stock fund and one that's a bond fund. The great news is Vanguard keeps making that stock fund better and better and better. You own the VTWSX. It's a Vanguard Total World Stock Index Fund. You pay about 0.2% a year. You own 8,800 stocks in one fund. Now, it doesn't tilt the portfolio, Earl, the way we would really like to, with more small in it and more value, but it's pretty doggone good. And then on the bond side, owning the VBMFX, that is one fund that owns, I think it's 60% in government treasuries. I think it's got a few corporates in there. It's also does it at an extremely low cost. So I think for most people, I don't know you, it's really, really, really great way to invest your money. That said, if you wanted to get more detail, I personally would be happy to send you to our friend Paul Merriman's website because he gives you a lot more detailed portfolios. It's a personal preference, if that makes sense.
Yep, and I've read Paul's book, so I am a bit familiar with his philosophy as well.
And we line right up with him again.
Yeah, we share it.
Yeah.
We share Paul's philosophy. It's just that we know from experience that the vast majority of people who listen to a show like this are looking for a simpler way to do it. And the difference in returns is going to be a fraction of a percent. Oh, at least it has been historically, and we think that's a reasonable assumption going forward. So, yeah, if you want to make a fractionally higher return, little less volatility, and you don't mind the extra work, then go with the more complex portfolio. Otherwise, most people are going to be just perfectly well served by the two funds, the Total World Index and the Total Bond Index. And again, the total expenses on the combination of those two, well under 0.2%.
Earl, thank you for listening, and thank you for your call and your questions, which is a very good one. And sometimes, by the way, things at the edges can make you a little bit more money. But if you're going to do it on your own, we find people they don't. And by the way, sometimes they build the portfolio.
And then they never touch it again.
Because it's hard to. That's a lot of rebalancing work to have 10 funds, and you got to move the money here or there. It takes time.
And while rebalancing is a lovely, lovely way to force you to do what you're supposed to be doing anyway, which is buying low and selling high, in the real world, without a guide, a fee only, 100% always fiduciary advisor, without that guide, most people find their psychological biases stand in the way of actually doing it. Because, for example, right now, let's say one of the hottest stocks, you got some Adobe in your portfolio. Adobe's been up like 80% in the past 12 months. You got your portfolio is now overweighted in Adobe, and you go, well, but it's doing well. I don't want to sell it. Or yesterday it was down. I'm not going to sell it. It was down yesterday. You see, our psychology gets in the way of doing the right thing. So if you can build yourself a portfolio that you just don't have to mess with, and then Vanguard kind of rebalances it, then I think you're in pretty decent shape.
For most people, it's
most people.
Yeah, it's better. Yeah. Want to go back to the phones? Let's go back to the phones.
Yeah, let's do.
Right. Dick now joins us from Edmonds. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
We're having fun. How can we help you today?
I just heard on the radio on the other station, Como, I guess it was, somebody that had a GET plan and you wanted to move it over to a Utah plan. I just opened a custodian account for my grandson that was just born, only with $5,000. Okay, so I was curious what I was going to do with this. The GET plan, I think you could only go to school or college in the state of Washington.
That's not right. By the way, we looked that up. You can use the money outside of the state.
It just doesn't guarantee.
It doesn't guarantee. It's simply then that's the trade-off, right? Because what higher education in Washington may be completely different than in California, for example.
Now, Dick, a custodial account is very different.
Grandson is I don't know where they're going to be living for sure.
Right. That's why the Utah plan. That's why the Utah plan is just, or any other 529, but we really like the Utah plan because it has great funds, it has low fees, and that money can be used at any college anywhere in the world.
And it's age-based. So, in other words, your grandson who is just born, congratulations. By the way, Don just had one. I'm getting another one here in a month. Great stuff. So your grandson gets the benefit of the growth of that money, and as Don said, can go use it basically anywhere. And the fund does the UESP does the work. In other words, as your grandson gets older and gets closer to college age, they're going to reduce how much is in stocks, have more in bonds, so that you don't have as much volatility in the portfolio as your grandson gets closer to school. So no, I think that meant. I think I heard you say something about custodial though.
Yeah, it sounds like he has a uniform gift to minors account.
That's what I just did. I opened
That's
a
completely
custodial
different.
account in my name, but can I transfer or to roll that over into a UTEC land?
Actually, as the custodian, he can use the money as he sees fit for that child's
which
best
I would
interest.
do right away. I don't see why you have a custodial account.
Which you can absolutely do because you're the custodian. As the custodian, you have the right to spend that in any way that you believe is in the child's best interest. You have a fiduciary responsibility to the child, but yes, you could take that money out and put it in a 529 for them. Yes.
Which is what we would recommend, by the way.
All right. So I started to think about this when I heard you guys were talking about this. Because in the custodial account, I basically have to decide what to put in there. I only have it in basically cash right now.
When it comes out,
do they decide for you?
Yep, they build the portfolios. Don, go ahead.
Yeah, and the other thing, the other problem with a custodial account is when the child reaches the age of majority, it's their money. They can do anything they want with it. The 529 has very strict restrictions. They can't just get their hands on it. It has to be spent for education, and you can change the child for whom it is used. So, I think I'd go check out that UESP.org, or now it's actually they have a new address. It's my529.org.
I think it still works at UESP.org. So I just logged
it does,
in the
but
other day,
My529 is an easier name to remember.
Yeah, it's something like what's the Washington one again? Home. What is it? It's future.
You can't even remember it.
Dream on
ahead.
I'm going to call them during the break. See if I get that changed.
855-935-TALK is our number. Give us a call. We'll give you a free copy of my book, Financial Physics, just for asking a question on the air, and you only have about a half hour to do it. So get to those phones. Give us a call, 855-935-TALK.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
In addition to the Talking Real Money podcast, I also do another podcast that's very popular over at Apple Podcasts. It's called Money 30. Every day I try to educate and inform you about money in a brief 2 to 4 minute podcast. So check them out at Apple Podcasts or all the other podcast services or at money30.com.
For your real life and real future, Tom and Don are talking real money.
And it's one of the few places where you're going to get really honest, fiduciary type advice on dealing with your money. And matter of fact, we even tell you how you can do it on your own. How many of the folks on the radio do that? No, they tell you to come.
But we do tell you, wink, wink. Call us Monday morning. We'll help you.
Yeah. Wink, wink. We don't wink, wink. 855-935-TALK's the number. Bribing you with a book. Yes, you get a free copy of my book, Financial Physics, if you call and ask a question on the show today. And Keith, it is now your turn to ask a question on the show today.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good.
Hey, so
I ran into my mic. I got so excited.
And you said I should switch my daughter's 529 over to Utah. So I did that. But I was wondering if you had a recommended asset allocation for that fund.
I would use the age-based.
How old's your daughter?
She's going to be 2 this month.
Yeah, I'm with Tom. There's an age-based aggressive global portfolio.
I have no idea why anybody wouldn't use the age-based aggressive because at 2.
And it's the aggressive global, which we think is very important. Yep. Because here's the way it works: when the child is your daughter's age, 100% of the money is in Vanguard mutual funds. 100%. Then when they get to be 12, only 70%, or 10, only 70%. Then when they get to 18, only 20% is in equities. So they're automatically doing that rebalancing as their risk tolerance, because they're going to need the money, declines.
Right. Lots of stocks early, fewer stocks later on. Makes sense.
Yeah. So another question: do you think it'd be better off? I set up a UGMA account last year with Eric too, basically saving $1 a day. But I was wondering if I'd be better off keeping that separate, basically in my account, kind of separated from my assets, knowing that.
Well, what's the purpose of that money? That's to give her money at some point to help her buy a house or something, or what? I mean, tell me why you want to do that.
Yeah, just basically something that she could use later on in life. And I don't want her to just blow it on a car or something like that. So
we got no choice. It's at 21, Don, or 18.
It depends on the 21. State.
Yeah, I mean, because at that point, that's her money, and you won't have anything to say about how it
You
gets
don't get
spent.
To say a darn thing.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan. I just and then what's the taxation, Don, when that when she takes it out too?
Well, it just depends. I mean, it's going to be taxed as a capital gain.
Okay, so you're going to pay. And it's a personal preference. I mean, so yeah, if you want to do that to help her out further, then go ahead. I personally think the best thing you can give any young person is an education to some extent.
Yeah.
And then
let me give you my angle on it. Here's what I would do, because if you're thinking about this as money for some other purpose down the road, there are two big things for which you as a parent might want to consider saving for a child. One is education, and I believe the second one is their retirement. I think
the second one in Seattle is so you can buy a 500 square foot house somewhere within 45 miles of the city.
Rent a bloody apartment.
That's outrageous. Okay, $500,000 to be able to rent an apartment. No, I know I shouldn't make jokes about that.
Yeah, no. The two things I think are an education and a retirement. And here's the way I would look at it. I would put all my money right now in the 529 so that education is totally funded. Then when your child gets to be 12, 13, 14 and starts to get a job, then you fund a Roth IRA for them for their long-term retirement. Because if you do that, then you take away some of those concerns about living expenses, because they no longer, one, they're not going to have student loans, and two, they're not going to have to worry as much about saving for retirement. So rather than save for some nebulous goal, save for two things that they absolutely should have: an education and a retirement.
Yeah, and give up on the housing thing. That's a bad joke.
That makes sense. All right, thanks.
Thanks for the call.
Yeah, good call.
855-935-TALK or 8255.
I still think helping young, the best thing you can do is teaching them the importance of saving. I mean, the idea that you set something, and that's very hard, I get it. I have a 10-year-old daughter, as you know. She has no concept of that, right? But we already did a Roth, et cetera, because she had income through a family business. Okay, that makes sense. But another one of my daughters is getting a job starting next week. I'm going to try to put my foot down and say, set 10% of the money that you get aside from day one. That way you're used to it. It's a habit. It's over. That money is gone.
But how much is her job going to pay?
And it's not. I've already looked at the numbers. It's going to be tricky to have a place, to have the car, to have the insurance and the phone and the cable.
I would suggest what our lovely listener from South Carolina suggested, Thomas.
Which was
for her.
Yeah.
Why don't you, instead of saying put 10% away, say initially, I will put 7.5 in.
If you do,
put 2.5 in.
Okay, well, that's a good idea.
Because we know you're going to be struggling initially.
Yeah.
Now, as time goes by, in 5 years, for example, I'm going to reduce that to 5%. You're going to go up to 5.
And if you ever touch it, I'm out.
If you ever touch it once, the contribution that I'm giving is done forever.
So you're just here. You just announced earlier you're not going to show up next Saturday, and now you want me to chip in on one of my daughter's retirement. You're costing me a lot of money here.
Actually, I seem to remember you're in a 2-income household.
That depends on your definition. Okay. Good enough.
Yeah, although you do have a 10-year-old, and she's going to get increasingly expensive.
Good Lord. I don't even like adding up the number. I don't even want to tell you how much it is today with school and summer camps. Thankfully, she hasn't figured out the whole clothing thing yet. I'm just waiting for that little number to start.
That's why I was counting down the days until my daughter graduated college.
And you send her to Africa? Wow.
She wanted to go.
Okay.
I did pay for her plane ticket, but the rest of it, she raised money. She got a GoFundMe page.
Wow. Well, why didn't you? We should have mentioned it on the air. We would have raised her some money.
We would have, but I didn't want to do it that way.
Right.
I wanted to make her go out and
what
get
a
people to give her
novel
money.
concept. That's good for you.
It's kind of like the dad
I know, yeah.
or the mom who goes into the office with the Girl Scout cookies.
How many boxes should I put you down for this year?
Yeah, who didn't make the kid come in and do it.
That's a good
I
point.
used to make my kids go into the office and sell them.
Yeah, I'm trying to get out of anyway. The Girl Scout cookie, no more.
Well, all I have to do is look down at my waist and go, nope, Girl Scout cookies are. A girl comes up and I go, nope, too fat, sorry.
We've had a lot of great calls today. I got to say, it's really been a fun day. It's not over, but I mean,
it's not over.
I know, but we've had a lot of. I mean, we've had everything from a lot of stuff about grandkids, which has been interesting.
Well, and let's go back to that. I am really interested looking at this this Vanguard age-based.
So the UESP has
plan.
no DFA in it?
Not the age-based. You can get them, but not in the age-based.
Oh, that's right. You have to go build your own if you want to use DFA.
Right.
Okay.
But this age-based is interesting. Let me just tell you what's in it. You're going to like this. The equity side of the portfolio is the institutional total stock market index.
Just in case
which
it wasn't
even
cheap
lower
enough. Yeah,
fees.
it was like 5 basis points or something.
Yeah. But they use that. They use the Vanguard Developed Markets Index Fund and the Vanguard Emerging Markets Index Fund. So they do tilt.
So you got
a little bit
have
to
at least
the
that
emerging.
asset class as an asset class, not just
You
part
got
of
it.
international where they usually underweight it. That's good.
And they actually use three I think they're relatively smart bond funds. One we don't use for reasons, which is an international bond fund because we don't want the currency exposure. But they do have the total the total bond market index and the short-term investment grade index.
Yeah, which gives you a little more orientation to shorter term and some corporate exposure there, which again, I'm not wild
and
about
then
corporate bonds. But
finally,
okay.
What they do at age 15 is they gradually start funding an FDIC insured savings account from which the education money should be drawn initially.
Oh, okay. Makes sense. Yeah, then that's a stable base of money. So we're actually in that one and the West Virginia. I decided to do both just to kind of get a feel for how both work. So
I'm very.
And now I'm going to have to add another
great.
one. I got to add another one here in July or August because I have a new grandson.
Oh, for the grandchild?
Yeah.
I got to get on.
529s are rolling, man. They love me.
I am a procrastinator. I got to get on that.
But next week's soon enough.
Yeah. I could even say Monday, but
we'll talk about
I think
it
I'll
then.
just stretch it out to next week. Okay, here's the deal.
Yeah.
You call us, you ask a question about money or investing or financial stuff, and we will send you the book about how money and investing really work. It's called Financial Physics with an F. And this is a very easy read. You are not going to be overwhelmed by it. I wrote it because I like things that are easy. I'm a big fan of keep it simple, stupid. So you can get that for free if you give us a call at 855-935-TALK, 855-935-8255.
And program note, remember next week Rick Gregorek will be joining me here on this program to talk about all things legal.
And Tom is going to let me sneak out
early birthday celebration.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave after the Como show.
I just impressed you can count that high, frankly. So that's good.
I'm about done for the day. And the other thing we want to mention is that in addition to having Rick on the show next week, Tom and Rick will be teaching a class called Retirement Freedom, which apparently made somebody else on the radio mad.
If you could say it more like Mel Gibson, freedom, like that. Thursday, June 28th. Yes, it did. June 28th, 7 o'clock in the evening in Kirkland. And this event is talking about all things financial, legal, and health when it comes to your retirement. It's a couple of hours. Rick and I have done a class like this together for many moons. This is always very popular. And you can register right now at TalkingRealMoney.com. Talking Real Money. Yes, there's a nominal charge. Got to pay for the room. And I think Rick always supplies cookies and coffee or something. So we charge a little. What is the charge for it now? Like $10?
I think it's $10.
Oh my
I think
goodness,
it's $10.
Crazy. So,
is he baking the cookies?
no, but maybe I should. I got extra time this week because I was supposed to go to San Francisco and I called that off. So I'm kind of trying to figure out what I'm going to do on Thursday and Friday now.
Go to the office, work.
I'm going to be like you. I'm going to take an hour off, mister. I'm going to take an hour off next week.
I'm taking a whole hour off.
And we're checking on that, too.
But the problem is, here's the problem, is on the 24th, which is my birthday,
yes,
I will probably end up working that hour in somewhere.
Oh, gosh, we've all worked on our birthdays. These people who think they should get their birthday off, I think, are very silly. Get
it's
to work.
Sunday. I get it off.
Okay. There you go. Well done, sir.
See? Worked out. That's the only reason I'm taking it off. It's Sunday. We'll be back. 855-935-TALK.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
Keeping the podcast breaks as painless as possible is my goal. That's why I want to very quickly tell you about the only magazine I've ever heard of that is 100% real investing all the time. There's no business news, no speculative advice, and certainly no lifestyle stuff. It's called Real Investing Journal. I publish it every quarter, and you can get 2 full years for only $25 at realinvestingjournal.com. That's realinvestingjournal.com.
Your guides to a really great financial future. Tom and Don are talking real money.
And our number is 855-935-TALK, 855-935-TALK. Get bribed, get an answer to a question, get informed, get educated, get more money.
Really, really, really bad news. I just checked with HR. They said, nope, those are the 3 hours every week. You have to show up. So,
oh, darn it.
See you next Saturday.
During the break, I was doing more research on the Utah plan.
UESP, yes.
UESP or my529.org.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the dimensional funds, if you're going to use the dimensional funds, you just pick those.
Yeah, we do that for some of our clients. We actually do that.
And they generally they don't give you a lot of them. They give you their global equity portfolio or their global 60-40 or their global 25-75. But you can't get into the weeds with it too much like we would do with our clients. So.
Yeah, no, we do the best we can with the funds available there. My personal take is for my kid that's still a few years from higher education, I just use the age-based. I think it's very fine. The fund expenses are very low, and the diversification is pretty doggone good.
Yeah, the age-based retirement accounts, just for your knowledge, the fee range, get this.
How much?
Just unbelievable. 0.009 to 0.042.
Wow.
That is up to, at the high end, 42 cents per $1,000 invested.
It's a pretty good deal.
Yeah. It's pretty darn cheap.
Pretty good.
Think about that for a minute. You go to your friendly neighborhood stockbroker and you invest $1,000 in an UGMA, Uniform Gift to Minors or Uniform Transfer to Minors account.
And they roll you right into a very nice, expensive mutual fund.
They put you into, an American fund or something where you would pay, instead of 42 cents per $1,000 annually, you will pay $57.50 up front per $1,000, and then annual fees of probably probably more like $6 per $1,000 invested.
6 to 10.
Yeah.
Quite
amazing.
A difference. Yeah, it's hard to believe it's the same world, and yet both exist. Apparently because people simply don't know about one or the other, I guess.
In large part because the industry does not want you to know the difference between the fiduciary into the business and the it's okay for you kind of into the business.
And now we just read today that Merrill Lynch, that was sort of heading in the direction of being more fiduciary. Well, they were trying to move to a fee, what they call, by the way, fee-based business, which still means you could charge commissions. They today or yesterday have people found out that they are. We might still do commissions. We got a lot of people here that think that makes more sense. we got a lot of people here that think we're not very competitive if we don't use commission products. So we may put those back into the mix when it comes to retirement accounts.
Yeah, I don't think, and there was a mention in the Wall Street Journal article that people were asking for that. That is just, I cannot imagine that there was a crush of investors saying, hey, we want to pay more.
Are those the same people that go out and demand a poorly cooked meal at an expensive restaurant, that kind of thing?
Yeah, please give me your work. Skip the gourmet meal. A can of dog food will do.
That does not make... Oh, how about a nice... You know what I really like today to go with my cold mashed potatoes? How about a nice variable annuity? I think we toss that in there, would you? Stir it all up, be delicious.
And the other thing that I noticed was interesting about the account in the Wall Street Journal was they apparently bought the bologna that Merrill fed them. Speaking of bad food, that the Merrill fee-based accounts only charge about 1% per year. I've heard that from other brokers. I talked to a guy at Morgan Stanley and said, how much do you charge for your fee-based account? Oh, we only charge 1%. Mm-hmm. And then I look up their Form ADV online at advisorinfo.sec.com, and I find that their ADV says, yeah, we only charge 1% if you have like $5 million invested. If you're below that, then it's 2.25%.
No, 2.25%?
Yes.
Oh, good Lord.
Yes.
That's crazy.
And Merrill lowered their fees. They used to be like 2.5%. They lowered them, I think, to 2.25%. But they're still not 1%. And that's the thing. The Wall Street Journal just goes blithely along with the lies that are being fed to them. And by the way, the brokers out there lie to you all the time. If you were to go to one of your brokers in the bank or your Merrill Lynch broker or your Morgan Stanley broker and say, what are your fee-only accounts? They're going to tell you 1%. But what you have to do is say, no, I only have $500,000. What's the fee on $500,000? Little more. A little more than that.
You don't pay me for that. Yeah.
Go read our Form ADV. Good luck. And that's the other thing is that I am looking at Merrill Lynch now has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 different advisory businesses for which they have ADVs.
Why do you think that? Why do you take a guess as to why that is?
Obfuscation.
Yeah, right. Then they can say, "Oh, that's this."
Words.
Yeah, now you want to be in that program. Oh, okay. Should have told us.
And then we go to their I picked one at random. The Merrill Lynch, and I'm picking on Merrill right now because they were in the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah.
The Merrill Lynch Personal Advisor Program brochure. Now, our ADV is what, like 14 pages?
Yeah.
Not very long. Merrill's ADV is 52 pages.
Yeah. Okay.
52 pages. And then when you get into the fee section, I'm actually having a hard time. Oh my gosh, the fees don't turn up until page 24. This is just a little rule of thumb for me. The farther the fees are in the ADV, the higher they're likely to be.
Figure that you won't read them.
And here it is for this one, the Merrill Lynch Personal Advisor Program. From $1 to $1 million is 2%. That's not 1. I think that's 2.
1 plus 1, actually.
Right. From $1 million to 2. No, sorry. From $1 million to 5. I was right. 1.5.
Woo.
Over $1 million. 1.1, which is close to 1%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Close. It's close. It's kind of like almost 1%.
Quit being so pushy.
Hey, so really, basically, unless you get past $10 million.
Which I know many of you listening have, just ready to invest today.
Oh, sure. There's no one in the Merrill Lynch Personal Advisor Program under $10 million paying anywhere near 1% per year.
All you need to know.
And the Wall Street Journal said 1%. As a matter of fact, if you have under $1 million with them, I'm sorry, but you're paying 2%.
And by the way, maybe this is a reason they want to go back to the commissions. It's probably cheaper to pay commissions.
No, I'm doing the math. I'm thinking, okay, wait, give me a 5% commission and annual expenses of 6 or 7/10 a year, and I'm better off.
Right, than paying them 2%. Plus,
that's why we say if you are going to go out and get yourself an advisor, you want to make sure, you want to make sure that they are always required to act as a fiduciary. That word always is so important to ask and then ask for it in writing. 2, make sure they do not charge. And again, get this in writing for your account size. Make sure they do not charge. I don't care how small your account is. Make sure they do not charge more than 1% per year to manage your money, and that you don't use mutual funds inside this account that charge any more than 0.5% a year. Period. Exclamation point. I'm really adamant about this. I'm adamant. I'm pounding with my 39-cent Bic pen.
Why don't you use a Vestry pen?
Because people steal them all the time.
I love those things. I have a whole bunch of them both at home and at work because I love them. Yeah.
Because you stole them from the office.
Herb Weisbaum swears by them. You think that's the only reason Herb even does the talks for us, because he hopes he gets a couple of pens out of the deal.
So what, do we just pay his fee in pens?
I think we probably should. He'd probably take it.
We'll
drop off 1,000 pens next time.
Hey, instead of paying you to do it, here's some pens, Herb.
Probably prefer it. Loves those pens. The pens are great.
There's no tax on pens, Herb.
And you picked those out like 10 years ago.
I did.
Yeah. And then we switched for a while, or we still switched.
Well, I went for we switched to a cheaper pen.
Yeah, and I never
to save money.
I liked the
and you didn't like it. So
are we back to the originals?
We're back to the originals, even though they cost like 48 cents each.
Oh my goodness, really? I still love that ad you did. Speaking of Merrill Lynch, with the office furniture I had and the office furniture that John Thain.
John Thain, 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 the former CEO
of Merrill Lynch had. It was great. Great comparison.
Wow, you are just random as can be. But now
you
for
said
those,
Merrill Lynch, it came out. Okay, there you go.
For those listening at home, John Thain had an occasional table.
That's
just
right.
sort of a little table in his office that cost.
I think it was 20. Was it? I thought it was 25,000, but I could
$25,000 for just this little side table.
Yeah.
Tom had a conference table in his office that was $297.
No, I think it was less than that, but okay, I'll take your word for it.
Well,
it was a good comparison.
Yeah, it was like
it was less. Let's go there.
We bought Tom's chair. They bought his at like an antique gallery. We bought Tom's chair at IKEA.
Yeah.
Thanks for being a part of this hour. We really appreciate you being there, and we hope you have a lovely rest of your whatever.
Tom and Don are talking real money. We hope you realize that the information provided on Talking Real Money is for educational and hopefully enjoyable purposes only. Providing personalized financial planning or investing advice takes time, so please consult with a really good fee-only fiduciary investment, tax, or legal advisor. We know a good one. Investing must always involve risk. In other words, you can and probably will lose money at times. Also, as much as you want it, no one can accurately and consistently predict the future. So past performance doesn't tell you a darn thing about what the future will bring. Unlike many other programs that say something similar, Talking Real Money is not trying to get you to buy or sell any financial products or securities. Instead, the program is provided as a public service by Vestry, a fee-only registered investment advisor. Thanks for listening, and please visit TalkingRealMoney.com for more information and disclosures. That should keep the lawyers happy.